A long, long time ago, in a small desert town called Dunera, there lived a young boy named Tariq. He lived with his mother and father in a cozy little house made of clay. Life in Dunera was simple, but it required a lot of hard work under the hot sun. Now, Tariq was known for being, well, a little lazy. Every single day, he was supposed to go out and help his father in the vast wheat fields that surrounded their town. But Tariq wasn't a big fan of moving around too much, especially when the sun was beating down. His main job was pretty simple: keep the birds away from the precious wheat crops. Most of the other boys his age would run around the fields, waving sticks and shouting at the top of their lungs to scare the birds away. It was an effective method, but it required a lot of energy. Tariq, however, didn't want to run or shout all day. So he came up with a really smart idea. He gathered shiny metal plates and small tinkling bells. He tied them to wooden sticks and placed these sticks all around the field. Whenever the desert wind blew, the plates would flash in the sun and the bells would jingle, creating enough noise and movement to frighten the birds away. It worked perfectly. While his invention did the work for him, Tariq would just sit comfortably under the shade of a large tree and watch. His father, seeing this, grew worried. He'd often think to himself, "What will happen if I ever get sick? How will my family survive? Can Tariq handle all the farm work by himself?" His father's concern was understandable. One year, that concern became a reality. The summer was unusually hot and brutally dry. The heat was relentless, and sadly, Tariq's father fell ill. Just as he had feared, he was too weak to work. Now the entire responsibility of the farm fell on Tariq's shoulders. He had to work in the fields all by himself. He tried his best, he really did, but he just wasn't used to such difficult physical labor. After just a few days of toiling under the scorching sun, the wheat crops began to wither and dry up. He couldn't get water to them fast enough, and the field was just too big for one person who wasn't accustomed to the work. That night, feeling defeated, Tariq climbed onto the flat rooftop of his house and looked up at the blanket of stars. A wave of sadness washed over him. "I never learned how to work hard," he thought to himself, his heart heavy. "And now, when my family needs me the most, I can't provide for them. I'm failing them." The very next morning, as the town was waking up, a loud, commanding voice echoed through the marketplace. A royal soldier, dressed in the Queen's colors, was making an announcement. "Hear ye, hear ye! There will be a grand contest at the Queen's palace. The winner shall be rewarded with a chest full of gold." Tariq's ears perked up. Gold. A spark of hope ignited within him. He thought, "If I can win that gold, I can buy food and medicine. I can help my family." Without a second thought, he rushed over and signed his name up for the contest. When people in the town heard that Tariq had entered, they laughed. They whispered to each other, "Tariq, the lazy boy? He's too lazy to win a race to his own dinner, let alone a royal contest." But Tariq ignored their taunts. He had a mission, and their words didn't matter. After 2 long days of traveling across the hot desert sands, Tariq finally arrived at the magnificent royal palace. He was amazed by its size and beauty, but he quickly noticed that many strong, athletic men and women were already there, all looking determined to win. He felt a little intimidated, but he remembered why he was there. The first challenge was announced: cross a wide, fast-flowing river. The first 3 people to reach the other side would move on to the final round. This was a test of speed and endurance. When the starting whistle blew, a huge splash erupted as everyone else jumped into the cold water and started swimming with all their might. But Tariq stayed back on the riverbank thinking, "I'm not the fastest swimmer," he thought. "They'll all beat me easily, but maybe I can think faster." An idea sparked. He sprinted into the nearby forest and quickly gathered some dry, fallen logs and sturdy vines. Working efficiently, he built a small, simple raft. He then found a long, sturdy branch to use as a pole to push himself along the riverbed. As the other contestants began to get tired from fighting the strong current, Tariq floated by, slow but steady. He wasn't fast, but he was conserving his energy. And in the end, as the swimmer's strokes grew weaker, he calmly poled his way to the other side. He finished in third place. He had made it to the final round. The next day was the grand finale. The final challenge was a true test of strength. Each of the 3 finalists was given a huge, rough block of stone. The task was to move it a distance of 1 kilometer. The catch? They could only use one tool of their choice. One contestant, a very muscular man, chose a thick rope, planning to drag the stone. The other, a strong woman, chose a long wooden lever to try and pry it forward. But Tariq surprised everyone. He chose a hammer. The crowd was completely baffled. They murmured amongst themselves, "A hammer? What is he going to do with that? Is he going to try and smash it to pieces?" It seemed like a foolish choice. While the other 2 contestants grunted and strained, trying to move their massive blocks, Tariq got to work. He didn't try to move the block at all. Instead, he started chipping away at it with his hammer. He skillfully broke off the sharp corners, slowly and carefully shaping the stone. After about an hour of focused work, his square block had become a large, round ball. Then, with a satisfied smile, he simply started rolling the stone down the path. It was still heavy, but rolling it was much, much easier than dragging or pushing it. The other 2 were still near the starting line, sweating and exhausted. In the end, Tariq was the first to cross the finish line, rolling his stone with relative ease. The crowd, which had been confused just an hour before, erupted in loud cheers and applause. They couldn't believe their eyes. Everyone was in shock. The boy they had all called lazy had just won the hardest contest in the kingdom. He hadn't won with bulging muscles or brute force. He had won with his brain, with his cleverness. This story shows us that sometimes being lazy can just mean you're looking for a more efficient way to do things. But more importantly, it shows that we all just need a strong enough reason to push ourselves. For Tariq, that reason was his deep love for his family. It gave him the motivation to try, to think, and to succeed when it mattered most. So, if you ever feel lazy or unmotivated, try to find your why. What is your reason? It could be making your parents proud, achieving a personal goal, or building your dreams. A strong reason can unlock a strength inside you that you never knew you had. And hey, congratulations! While listening to a great story, you also practiced your English today. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends who are also learning English. We can't wait to see you in the next story. Thanks for watching.